morning. My name is Lucinda Pennington. I reside in the state of Missouri. I am an advocate for foster children and families that have been destroyed by CPS. I was a parent aide company for 20 months, but I lost my contracts due to a stupid Facebook post. They tried to investigate me for 9 months, 10 months actually, trying to find something to get my contract taken. Didn't find anything, didn't have anything to charge me with. Couldn't even take my contract because I didn't find anything. So they trolled my Facebook and took my contract. Shortly later, last week, due to losing my contract with DSS, I now lost my contract with Great Circle because of it. It didn't matter why they took the contract. So, let me tell you a little bit why I'm heartbroken. But you know what? Here's the thing. My story is why I did what I did. Why I helped families. I grew up in foster care my whole life. I was abandoned at the hospital, 3 days old. My mother, she got up, walked out the hospital room, and left me there. She couldn't take care of me. At the time, my mother was the whore that lived at the dump, and they didn't know who my family was, so they didn't have anybody to call, so they put me in the foster system. I ended up, though, with an aunt who came and got me, and she was a foster parent, and they weren't 100% sure whether or not she was my aunt, but they went ahead and let her take me. I was in her home until I was 5 years old, and then my mother, my birth mother, got paid $1,000 to sign me over to state care and to another foster parent who was also an aunt, a very abusive aunt, who at the age of 5, I was raped by her son, and then when I cried to her about it, she said that her son could do with me whatever he wanted, and so he would have sleepovers and his buddies would take turns with me, and I was 5 years old. I cried, I hurt. They were very abusive. They beat me. They would beat my feet. I shared a video the other day, and when I saw that video, that was the same treatment, same kind of treatment. The eat your shit treatment, the beating of the feet, the throwing around in the room to make it look like you fell down the stairs, the bruises, the hits, the blackouts. I was tied in a basement, dirt basement, for days, bottom of the stairs, butt naked, so if I ever got loose, I wouldn't run away. I'd have mice bites on my toes. I'd have just horrible ringworm and sores on my body from the beatings. Of course, it was never in the face or where the school could see it when I went to school. And one day, I got in trouble, really bad trouble, and they sent my brother to school. And I stayed home and got a beating. And got punished. And I came to school and I saw my brother looking out of his classroom door, just anxious to see if I was okay. And I waved at him and I said, "It's okay, it wasn't too bad." It's pretty bad that when you judge how bad a beating is. It wasn't a spanking. I got beatings in foster care, group homes, wherever we went. It was horrible. I have written a story of my life growing up in foster care. It's called They Meant It for Evil. CPS, DSS, or whatever they call them in different states. It is a necessity because we do have some parents who are abusive. Some parents who are so self-centered and only can think of themselves and their attitude of, I know other people who do drugs, so why can't I do drugs and raise children? You cannot do drugs and raise children. That's not fair to your children. If you want to do drugs, go do drugs. But your children deserve to have parents that are taking care of them and not letting them starve or letting them... You've got to take care of your children. Growing up in foster care was the hardest thing for me. 13 different foster homes. Nobody wanted me. Nobody wanted me. My mother didn't want me, leaving me at the hospital at 3 days old. At the age of 5, being raped, I became where I wouldn't talk. That was my coping skill. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't communicate. And so they put me in special education, which they labeled me mentally retarded, said I couldn't learn. And so they didn't teach me. They didn't try to teach me. They would put me in special classes where I would hide under the tables and sleep all day because I couldn't sleep at night because I was being molested. CPS didn't care how I was being treated. Even, this is the horrible part, I had a caseworker. I had several caseworkers. They would come and visit me, have a cup of coffee with my foster mom, several of my foster parents. And one of them, I was in the middle of a punishment where they had me kneeling on split wood on bare knees and had my arms out, and they were adding dishes to it to make sure. And I can't even remember. I never remembered why I was being punished because the punishment was so severe I didn't even know what I did wrong. A lot of times I think they just like to punish. But anyways, my caseworker's sitting there and I'm sitting there being punished. And they come up with some reason why I was being punished, and he walks over to the counter and picks up a dish and adds it to my punishment. Another time he'd come out and they had me in a washing machine spinning it. Thought it was funny. He comes over and he goes, oh, let's do it again. These are my caseworkers. These are people that were supposed to protect me. These are people that were supposed to make sure that I was taken care of. My whole life, I had nobody. Nobody that cared. I went to church. Every Sunday was my only work. I had a bus captain. It didn't matter what home I was brought to. Somehow, some way, he always found me. And I got to go to church on Sunday. That was one thing I got to do. And as a little girl, the days that I would go without eating, I knew that I would be able to eat on the school bus going to church. And being able to go to church on Sundays because of this bus captain was the only good thing about my life at the time. And I had a Sunday school teacher one day tell me, when your mother and your father forsake you, God will take you up. She goes, I know you're in foster care and you've been in foster care your whole life and you feel like nobody loves you. God loves you. And that was really hard for me to understand, because if God really loved me, why am I having to endure so much pain and so much hatred towards me when I hadn't done anything but be a child. Nothing but a child. I was nothing but a child. That day I decided, okay, I don't have a mom, I don't have a dad that loves me. God loves me. So I made sure that I went to church on Sundays. The one time a week that I wasn't getting beat or mistreated, I'd try to stay at church all day long if I could. I'd beg to go to my bus captain's house or go eat dinner with him or anything like that. I was a very smelly child because they didn't make sure I was bathed and stuff, but they still loved me and they still let me be a part of their family. One Sunday, I finally did get adopted at the age of 11, and immediately I was sexually molested by my father for several years, and so I got put back into the system. I was sent away to a girl's home for 3 years. Habsburg House. It was the only place in my whole life for 3 years where I wasn't beat or abused or starved or told that I was horrible or that I wasn't loved. I spent the time there studying my Bible and learning what it meant to be a Christian, learning what it meant to just be me and learn how to forgive and how to love. I wanted to be a good mom. I wanted to get married someday, so I wanted to learn what it was to be a godly wife. So I took that time, those 3 years, to learn what God expected of us as human beings, because He was our creator. The one thing I do know is that through all of this, through all the abuse, through all of the heartache and the pain that my body suffers due to abuse,